If you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing. It's totally free and you can unsubscribe at any time and it really helps us out a lot. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video.
The podcast is Mark 2.0. We are Mark and Brian, and we're going to throw it over to Bill Howard. Bill.
Hey, Bill, thank you for being here.
Tell us first off what movie this is, what film this is, and introduce everyone.
We just finished filming The Great Dismal, which is a movie that I wrote the screenplay for last year, and actually yesterday would have been the day that I finished the script 1 year ago. And we've got our cast members here talk about The Great Dismal and the experiences we had. I'm gonna start it off with Jameson Utley. He's our lead character in this. He plays Jefferson Jenkins. And then I'll kind of go in order. The next one would be Burl Stocks, who plays Jefferson's uncle. So it's Uncle Robert Jenkins. And then we have Sam Bailey, which a lot of people may actually recognize Sam. But Sam plays the hunting guide, Ted Boone, that takes Jefferson out into the woods. And then the incredible performance from just a godsend for this film is Mr. William English, who plays the hermit.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Yes.
We really appreciate your time.
We're glad to be on, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So Bill, can I ask you really quick though, really, what prompted all this? I mean, what made you write this?
I filmed a short film called The Tramping Ground October or Halloween of last year. And that was my first film in which I had a cast and crew. The thing is, it wasn't my story. I had a great time filming it. It's just, it wasn't my story. So I'm also a writer, and I decided to learn how to write a screenplay. And I felt like there wasn't quite enough Bigfoot stories out there. So, and you always write about what you know. And I was a writer prior, and I'm a photographer, and the stuff that I wrote was an outdoors column. I was carried in 16 newspapers in North and South Carolina. So I kind of blended a lot of the characters in this film based on what I did. Jefferson, which is played by Jameson, is a sports reporter that the newspaper he worked for went out of business. And then Sam, who plays Ted Boone, the hunting guide. Well, again, I was an outdoors columnist, so I knew hunting and fishing and camping and hiking, and I knew the outdoors. And then William, who plays the hermit, I'm very much an introvert, although it may not appear it when I'm on camera. But I'm very much an introvert, so I'm a little bit of that hermit as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how do you want to start? You want to get to know these gentlemen one by one a little bit?
I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah, I agree.
As long as the guys there are up for it.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Jameson, man, let me tell you a little bit of story about when we did the casting for these characters, and I'll start off with Jameson. Jameson was the only character. Take it back, because Burl was the same way. Jameson and Burl were the only characters that didn't get parts of the script to do a read for me. Both Sam and William read actual pages from the script. Jameson, I threw out there as I knew that character had to have a lot of range. So I picked a scene from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And it was the scene where Will Smith, he finally meets, or his dad finally shows up on the screen there, and it's played by Ben Vereen. And the dad kind of sneaking away, and Will finds out that he's leaving, and it's a very impactful, emotional scene. In fact, I may send it to you guys if you want to play it.
Yeah, I remember it well.
I'll release this. The casting really sold me. Jameson did a great job pretending to be Will Smith in that. And that's what sold me on it. But yeah, Jameson, you've got several roles since we did this film. And then, I mean, tell everybody about yourself a little bit and even some of the roles you've done here lately.
So I've always wanted to be an actor. So let me just start off. I'm Jameson Ali. I'm 25 years old and I just started acting. This was my first role, speaking role, actually, a lead role. So I've always wanted to be an actor, but I never just like put myself out there. And I put myself out there. I started acting seriously, taking classes, and here we are. And with the casting, with the Will Smith, it was actually a great fit because I was already practicing that for my monologue. So when he sent it to me, it just prompted me to get up and, all right, now I don't got time to sit around and think about how I want to do it. Just get in there and do it. You know what I mean?
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And
Jameson,
tell
where
me
did
that
you
too.
grow up, by
You
the
had
way?
done some of that. Wait, I'm sorry.
Uh,
Brian.
I grew up in Fuquay Varina, North Carolina, but I'm from Holly Springs, and I've just been around in North Carolina.
That's awesome. So did you get any formal training there, or who's teaching you to act and stuff?
Honestly, I went to a couple acting classes at A-List Models and Talent, but mainly I act at home. Like I'm just a character. And I've always just like watched movies growing up, and every time I get behind the camera, in front of the camera, I always just think about how I would want it to look on camera. You know what I mean? And I just like grew up watching movies all the time. Will Smith was is my hero. Just watching him every day. I probably watch Wild Wild West every day. So just like acting and just like in general, I love the art. I do a little like rap. Sometimes I rap. I love art and I just love it.
I'm sure you're awesome. I've seen Bill's work, and he always chooses great people. So it's great to meet you, and congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And maybe we should hear from Mr. Stocks.
Oh man, I'm from North Carolina too. My grandfather was a farmer. Now he used to say I could talk the ears off a stone statue. So I'm gonna try to keep it short because I'll frustrate the other guys.
Oh, you're always welcome on our show. You can,
Oh, yeah.
you can talk. Yeah.
Go right ahead, bro.
I feel your pain, brother. I'm the first black president. I need to come to New York. Anyway, I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest. I'm a former CPA and investment advisor. I did not start acting until I was 60 years old. So I've been in this business for 8 years. I originally got into the business after I lost my mother in 2010. I was going to pursue voiceovers, but then my first commercial job, I think I got paid $850 for 10 minutes work. And I'm saying, whoa, yeah, we're going to do something. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a lot of things. A movie I've made with Denzel's youngest daughter. I've got a lot of acting credits and all. So I have a very limited role in this movie. But for me, after meeting Bill with all the diverse talent he has, he's a hardworking dude. He's someone I want to partner with in the long term, because in this business, there's no one project that's going to get you over the hump. And I'm not doing it to become famous, because I tell everyone I was a world-class athlete when I was in college, so I've been that route. Plus, I'm 68 years old. I do it because one of my sayings is, help someone today and make someone smile. And doing something like this can easily make someone smile, make a difference in other people's lives. But I want to get paid too.
You got great presence, great energy. You got a great voice. You should maybe do some voiceover stuff too, and
Yeah, I was on voices.com and I got paid for years, but after so many years being a CPA and financial advisor and sitting in a confined area, I wanted to get out. Plus, I'm a kid. I'm true.
awesome. Mr. Howard, why don't you say a little something about Burrow here?
But
Yeah.
when when I was casting the role, um, Jameson, you can help me out with this. When the position I was looking for was this person to play Jefferson, and it needed to be mid-20s to mid-30s. And I also needed a picture of the upper body, because there's a scene where they're coming out of the shower. And so, you know, the upper body is going to be there for everybody to see. Well, Burl cast for the job, and it's a 20 to 30-year-old reporter, and Burl is going on 90. He's not quite going
Yeah.
on that. But Burl did that, and
Gun.
so I started thinking about the screenplay, and there's a Jameson is driven in my original script. Jameson is driven by the fact that his grandmother raised him and passed away. And I said, you know what? Instead of having a grandmother pass away, why not have somebody that's actually active in his life? So I talked to Burl about that, and I brought him on as Uncle Robert and rewrote that part of the script.
Smart.
So Jameson is Uncle Robert takes over Jameson after Jameson's mother dies, and he becomes the father figure.
All right, that is
Nice.
beautiful. And so we have Mr. Sam Bailey. Thanks for being here today. I hear you're quite the TikTok star. I really don't know much about that though. Can you enlighten me?
Yeah, let us know.
And where are you from too, by the way?
Yeah, thanks, guys. First off, thank you all for having me and everybody else on here. I really
Pleasure.
appreciate it. My name's Sam Bailey. I'm originally from Pembroke, North Carolina. I am I guess most people call it a TikTok star. I have right at 2 million followers on TikTok. I think I've been on that platform now for a little over 2 years. I currently have about 600,000 on Facebook, and that's been since March of this year. I think YouTube somewhere right at 300K, 300,000 or so on YouTube. And again, that's a new account as well. And it just seems to all keep moving in the right direction. You know, Bill and I kind of got acquainted. I seen when he was looking to cast this particular role in this great dismal film. When I read over the parts, I was like, you know, I think I could pull that off. I mean, it just kind of matches me and what I do. And you know, I reached out to Bill and we connected, and you know, I actually read for it just like you know everyone else, but at the end we were able to work it out and trying to bring this Ted Boone character to life, which you know was a good deal because majority of my TikTok stuff is comedy and or like lip sync stuff. It's just basically something completely different than what this character here was intended to be. You know, Ted's character is a little bit more serious than how I am, and you know, as far as my other like my social media stuff. But there are moments that Bill was able to incorporate, you know, a little bit of personality or a little bit of sarcasm or you know different things like that to kind of dab on what I'm really known for, so to speak. Um, and I think ultimately at the end of the whole project, it turned out really, really well. I'm excited to see what Bill comes up with in the end because you know everybody that was involved in this project did absolutely phenomenal. I can't speak enough praises on Jameson Utley. I mean, you know, I spent just about the entire time on set, you know, working with him side by side. Guy's phenomenal. He's going to go on to do bigger and better things. Guarantee every year is just going to get bigger for this dude. He's amazing. Bill, phenomenal director. Absolutely love working with him. We're actually got a couple other things in lineup right now where I'm actually going to be behind the scenes, so to speak. We're working on, and I look forward to being able to continue working relationship with him as well as Jameson too. Um, you know, I hadn't had an opportunity to meet Burrow in person. None of our scenes, you know, crossed over, but I did get the luxury of meeting William. He's that guy is phenomenal. You know, I actually went out on set a couple times and actually got to see him do his thing, and that was a breath of fresh air. So I'm excited for everybody to see this. I know without a shadow of a doubt that Burl did absolutely phenomenal too from the things that I've seen so far. So I'm just stoked, man. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to see it. So proud of these guys. I just can't say enough good stuff.
Get your popcorn ready.
There we go.
I know what you mean. I've been blowing up Bill's phone since I met him. So, Bill, when did you actually find Sam? How did you find Sam?
And I put a casting call out for the hunting guide, Ted Boone, and Sam was one of about. I had about 15 people send in casting reels for it, and I liked Sam's build. Sam looked the part. He did a very good job of reading the part as well. I will say, it was actually, I think, after the cast is when Sam let me know how big of his following was on TikTok. But another thing, I'll give a little bit of story about each of these as we do it. With Sam, I did a rewrite as well. Sam's comedy, especially in the beginning, was a lot of lip syncing.
Mm.
So I made a point, and Sam really hated me for this last week. Or a couple of weeks ago now, I guess. But so there's a song called "It Had to Be You" that hit public domain on July 1st, and I added the song to kind of break up the movie because the movie is so serious through a lot of it, and I was trying to get a little bit of play with it, I guess. And so I added that song in there, and I get Sam actually singing the song.
Yeah.
Come on, Sam,
That
give us
was-
a.
that's
Yeah.
strictly just fanfare for Sam for his.
That was absolutely
They charge you extra for that.
that was absolutely painful.
I think Sam had. We ended up having Jameson take over the second verse of the song because either Sam could not remember the lines or he could not remember the lines on purpose.
That was a good strategy.
I
Spent
remember
about 2
when
hours on one verse.
I had never in my life heard that song, and I didn't understand the tempo or anything. I was just scared to move so bad.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's what I try to do is I got to bring the personalities out. Sam and Burl, the way this film works is, Burl was playing that father figure to Jameson, or Uncle Robert to Jefferson, and I wanted Sam to do the same thing. I wanted Sam to. He had the right personality to be comforting and friendly and approachable. And that allowed him to be the father figure in that first half of the movie. So basically, Sam played the father figure as a white guy that likes the outdoors, and Burl played the father figure that came from the streets, but was very intelligent and black. And so I wanted them to be the same person, just different colors and different environment.
What do you mean black? I'm Italian, man.
There you go. I love it, Burl.
My middle name is Lorenzo. I'm Italian.
Black it then. That's right. And then we have William English over here. Has been sitting patiently. I feel
Yeah.
like we've left you here forever. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for being here.
I'm great. Thanks for having us.
Oh yeah, this is a thrill.
So how'd you get into acting anyway?
Well,
Robert
kinda-
William, you see that, right?
hey, there you go. That
Oh.
was one of our connections.
Mhm.
Sort of similar story to Burl there. I didn't start doing this until 60, but always sort of wanted to act, and it was after a health scare that I decided to go and roll in a class and think about my bucket list. And it could have been anything like astronomy or drawing, and I took acting and I fell in love with acting. And I was at Hunter College, and since then I've taken camera classes at the Barrow Group here in New York with a guy named Steven Singer, and HB Studios scene study class with the great Austin Pendleton at we've all seen in so many movies. And yeah, it's just I saw the casting call. I was down for the holidays last year, saw the casting call for a hermit, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I just love looking for these complex, just complicated characters. And like, what can be more complicated than a guy who's decided to live a solitary life? How do you do that? We're such social creatures. No, it's just drawn to it. And then I talked to Bill, and it's like, instantly here's a conversation that lasts at least an hour, like every other time we've talked.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I was just so impressed with his background. Here's a guy who has been a professional photographer for 7, 8 years, and he's a portrait photographer. So I know he understands, capturing emotion in eyes and faces, and he's a sports photographer. So I know he's got an eye for motion across a screen. And it's like, what better person to make a film with this first time? And it's just, yeah, really excited. And then meeting these guys, the other characters, Burl has just been, very friendly and helping me figure out how to pursue my acting further. And working with Jameson, first time out of the gate, that was a lot of fun. And Sam is just as interesting as he can be, Mr. TikTok, and sets up all this scene that was just incredible for us. And yeah, it's the magic of the arts, man. It's just the stuff that has happened has just been magical.
This is a fantastic group. This is very exciting.
Really?
Where were you born, by the way, William?
I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Everybody from North Carolina.
Yeah,
Wow.
Nice.
born in Charlotte. I grew up in Monroe, North Carolina. Went to North Carolina State, majored in textiles, and I came to New York in 1979 to be in the textile business, and that didn't last too long, as we decided to ship all our manufacturing to China. So I got out of that, and I sold bonds.
Yeah.
And started acting, and I just didn't like bonds anymore, so I just said, I'll go and act, and that's it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, William, why did you choose this gentleman and none of the other hermits?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Bill Howard.
Bill.
Why did you? I'm sorry. I do that. I call him William sometimes, especially when I see it on your screen.
Exactly.
Yeah. Why did you go with this hermit and not the other hermits?
We had I had 7 or 8 that applied for the hermit job. Honestly, several of them just didn't look like hermits. William had the look. I mean, what you see right now is what he looked like when he did the casting. But as soon as he read it, I knew that the only thing that would keep getting him is if I couldn't afford him. And
Yeah.
I've got to say that about all 4 of these guys. We had very low budget to make this film. We made a freaking feature film for under $2,000, and a lot of it's got to do with these guys.
Hey, you don't want to mess this up on IMDb.
Good point, bro.
It looks so beautiful too, right there. We looked all over that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's they did everything to help make this story come to life. I can't owe these guys enough.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have people work together. And like what was it? Quincy Jones said, "Leave your ego at the door." And I can truly say this about this group. That's why in the long run, I'd rather build my career working with these guys. If it's possible. So,
And as far as William, one of our other stories that we did a slight rewrite on the go, I guess. It was when we were filming the scenes with William and Jameson, and there's a segment there. I'll share with y'all this one little cut. That would be no problem. Jameson finds this camper out in the middle of the swamp, and he's like peeking in, trying to see what's going on. Well, the hermit comes up behind him, and Jameson's like, do you live here? And Hermit's like, yeah, did
Yeah.
did it see you? Did the creature see you? And Jameson's like, I think so. I think I'm the one that pissed it off. And well, he says, we need to get inside because it's madder than a pack of wolves. And that was a reference to NC State Wolfpack, where both William and I went to school. We pulled a Zach Galifianakis out of that one. But if Brian and Mark, if y'all don't know, Zach Galifianakis also went NC State, and if you remember in The Hangover, he talks about the Wolfpack.
Oh yeah, I
And
remember that.
that's
Now you mentioned it.
the reference that came from.
And what is this? The longest post credit sequence ever. How long is that? Why did you do that?
It's at 18 minutes long, and so
That's
yeah,
really
the credits roll, and then we go into another movie. Is basically what happens. We've got a low budget feature film here, and that was another thing William and I spoke about. Was William wanted to know the backstory on the hermit? Was he a Vietnam veteran? What why is he a hermit? So I said, you know what? Let's put this together, and we decided to kind of write this short film that we would add on to the end of the movie to tell the hermit's backstory. It's kind of a prologue to the movie at the tail end. And in doing so, we also, as we kept doing it, and we finished filming the hermit part of it, was it June or July? William, is that right?
I think so. Maybe, yeah, June or July.
May have even been August.
Yeah.
Um,
Down
but we
at
put together
Ted.
things, and it's going to be it'll be more of like one of those fine art short films, I guess. But I really like the way it's come out. I would have already released that, but we are in talks with some distributors and producers, so I don't want to send anything out too early that would jeopardize us getting our the money for the film, basically. So but yeah, world's longest post-credit scene, post-credit sequence. Yeah, and
So
I
you
think
like this
it's kinda
character so much, you just decided to do that, huh?
yeah, and it's going to bring our film to about 90 minutes long total, and that's hour and a half's perfect length.
Perfect.
Sure.
Well, and you got this great look that's going to take you far. I just know it.
You really do. You look like a character actor.
Yeah, we know another guy like you. He's just like, yeah, he just gets part after part just because he's got that cool look, just like you. So,
But
and
Williams mentioned that several times. He's landed a lot of roles because of the way he looked.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did this specifically. This is about 3 years old. If you had seen me 3 years ago, I was short hair and
Wow.
clean shaven and had never grown a beard until my first theme. My first play was I played the captain in a Eugene O'Neill early sea story. One of the stories that was based the Long Voyage Home was based upon, and we performed it down on the ship at the South Street Seaport Museum here in New York, and so that was my first beard, and just kept going.
You made the right move, that's for sure.
Yeah. So what is this? You used a real courthouse, huh? And a real judge.
We did, and I get. Let's start with Sam on that one, because Sam is kind of the one that set us up for that location.
Damn.
And I'll let him explain a little bit about that.
Please.
Then I'll get William to tell you a little bit as far as how the scene went.
Just as far as the location and all and everything we used, we had a lot of we had an opportunity to go into a superior courtroom. We had a chief district court judge that stood in the place and acted as the judge. The scenes were pretty much I guess ad lib, Bill, if that's the right
but
choice of words for what
There's
we're
no
doing.
reason for me to write a scene for a judge. She knows how the courtroom is supposed to be run better than I do. So I just need to
Okay.
tell her what the court case was going to be about and let it go.
Yeah. But I actually had, the bailiff, everything was real. I mean, the bailiff itself was the man that with the sheriff's office that's over the county's court judicial, as far as the actual bailiffs for each courtroom. So everything we had in there was real authentic. I was lucky enough to have good contacts to be able to make that happen. We actually got in the door right at the end of the day when the court had closed and the courtrooms or the courthouse was completely shut down. The judge stayed over. The sheriff sent another, the bailiff out to be there with us to try to work the scenes out. We were able to pull extras from outside the courtroom that actually worked in different parts of the courthouse. So it all flowed perfect. And it turned out to be a phenomenal scene. And again, I was fortunate enough to be able to stand in the back and just watch it all, take place and watch William in all his glory do what he does best. And the emotions that this guy brought, without going into the scene itself, but just watching the emotions that he brought from within to try to get his point across to this judge was amazing. I don't have any other word. It's just something that's one of my favorite parts of the film right there. I enjoyed it just and I was again in the back of the room just watching, but it was amazing.
So Sam, these people at the courthouse, and you just sweet talked everybody in there and made it happen. My goodness.
I endorse. I'm really well known around the area, the state, this county specifically. Probably one of the, I guess, most well known people to ever come from this county. I don't know. At least that's what they tell me.
I mean, people, a lot of people.
But anyway, I endorsed the current sheriff that we have, the current sitting sheriff, the chief district court judge. I endorsed her during her campaign.
No
So I have
kidding.
a lot of contacts. The sheriff's office here does a Christmas film every year. It's a Grinch film where the Grinch steals Christmas from the county and the sheriff investigates all this and that. I actually played the Grinch in two of those films. And he kind of, and I did it for free, and it was kind of a, hey, you help me out deal. I need help right now. We're shooting this movie. Can we use the courthouse? And
Nice.
it was going out on a whim, and luckily we were able to land it. We got the courthouse, we got the real judge, we got the real bailiff, and it was all done free. We didn't have to put any money up to, for any of those people to come out and help us make this thing happen.
Wow.
We
that's
were
great.
very fortunate with the film in that, and we're going to get to the scene here in just a second, William. But the opening scenes of the film are shot in a condo that I actually wrote. That particular condo, that was what was in my mind when I wrote the layout of the scene. And it was a condo that I do real estate photography too, and it's one of my clients that it's an Airbnb, and he gave it to me for free for 2 days for us to film. And then the city of Wilson gave me, we were able to pull the camper out into this wooded area that's near a boat ramp. And that's our swamp scenes for the camper. I didn't have to do any permits. They gave it to me, I think we were there a couple of days. And then we were unsure how the weather was going to work out. So the actual grounds that I was born on, that I lived on, we sold it 10 years ago. They built storage facilities on it now. But the guy that owns the storage facilities, he gave me one of their big storage units. So we pulled the camper in there and we filmed the rest of the week inside that camper in there with Jameson and William. And then we did a scene at the end of the movie that's at a barbershop where William's trying to get a haircut before he goes to court. And Burl's the one that lined me up with that. And we were able to shoot there at no charge. So we were very lucky in all of that. Or very fortunate. I'm not going to say lucky. We were very fortunate. If it wasn't for all of these guys' personalities, we wouldn't have had those communications to do that.
Say that again, bro.
Bill, don't say that. Don't say that, Bill. Everybody think the hustlers up in New York City. No, brother, the hustlers are down south.
Carolyn.
But yeah, so we didn't have to pay for any locations that we shot. The main part of the swamp with Sam and Jameson, that was in Zebulon, North Carolina, which is outside of Raleigh, and that was on my in-laws' land. So
Hmm.
I mean, everything was free to us as far as our locations. But I got to tell you, William and I both got very nervous in the court, and I'm gonna let William tell you a little bit about that story.
Well, so first of all, I just have to say thank you to both Burl and Sam for setting up these two scenes. For my acting, I love realism, and both of those scenes were just real. You had real people. This is what they do in their lives, and in this courtroom scene, I mean, I was in there, and it's a real judge, real court officers, and I'm appealing to the judge, please. It's like I'm about to lose everything, and she she just shut me down. It was like, sir, that's all we did. I just can't hear anymore. If you can't pay, you got to be out. And I was like getting upset, and I literally did not know if one of those bailiffs was going to come over there and take me to him.
Oh,
It was like a
Nice.
real
That
emotion
is
going
just
through.
beautiful.
It's one of the highlights of literally one of the highlights of my acting so far is to do a real scene in a real courtroom with a real judge, real court officers. We all watch the series weekly, right? Well, you got an actor as a judge, you got an actor as
Yeah.
an attorney, you got all of these people were real.
And she meant business.
And
Yeah.
what it
She was
yes,
stern.
did. What it did for the my emotions, it just was like I was scared. I mean, there's some realness in there. So thank you, Sam. I appreciate the compliment, but it that wasn't all acting.
That is great.
It was
That's great.
William, I loved it.
That's a rarity too, because I've done a lot of courtroom scenes, and it's all the judge is the actor,
Yeah.
everyone's acting. I mean,
The prosecutor,
yeah.
everybody in the room is an actor, and that was not the case. This was as real as you could get for filming something.
In
Bill
fact, the
had
only
to
people that
help
weren't
my
acting
young-
in there were the peoples that were sitting in the seats, like they were in court, but they all worked for the court system.
Oh,
Yeah, even the person that played the prosecutor worked for the courts and just was
With the
listing
county
all
tax
the
office, I
things
think.
out as if it was real.
This is definitely a good team. This is definitely a good team. So I don't think we've heard enough from Mr. Utley. So tell me, Bill, what did I know you worked with Jameson to create this thing, but what was really some of the highlights? What are you proud of?
Well, let me start off with what I wasn't proud of.
okay.
Jameson likes showing up late.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I showed up in the
But-
beginning. The beginning.
It was worth it.
Oh, BPT, huh?
Jameson blended in and had a connection with all three of these actors. You can't ask anything more out of somebody that's playing a lead role. I mean, every one of them had chemistry, and that makes a scene look so much better. Even when I screw up on the camera side, it just makes it sound and look so much better. There were spots where Jameson had to sell the scene, and I mentioned this on social media the other day. When we filmed our last set with Sam and Jameson, he had to sell it. This is his life story. This is how he became came to where he was in this film. And when as I've been working on the edits, tears welled in my eyes. I mean, he sold it. I can't say anything else about it. He absolutely sold it. Sam did a perfect job of playing off what Sam was or what Jameson was doing. It was it was beautiful. The in the film, Jameson grows from a timid male to becoming an alpha. He has to learn himself. He has to. It's a growing story. It's a coming of age story for Jameson, for Jefferson, and I think we did a good job of pulling that emotion all the way through the film. In the beginning, Jameson, his character Jefferson, was always second fiddle to whoever he was with. By the end of the movie, he was the one in charge. There's a mid-credit scene with Burl and Jameson that the chemistry there, they could probably go on a comedy tour together. It was, I mean, they played it perfect. I can't think of any other way to say it.
That's awesome.
Jameson, what was your
Ye-
favorite part that you did in the film?
Ooh, that is a hard question. That being my first movie, I loved it all. I was just like every day, like every morning waking up to go shoot. I'm like, I'm really in the movie. I'm really in the movie. But okay, so I probably have to say when things start to go south.
There's a scene where Jefferson and the Hermit kind of go at each other. And I think I could say this without giving stuff away, but there's a little bit of an attack there. And in real life, Jameson was a little too soft. So William and I constantly told Jameson, buddy, you got to go at it. Go ahead and take it down.
Yeah.
Literally.
And you can't tell on camera, but Jameson's a lot bigger than I am.
Oh,
He could do
Yeah.
some damage.
Like
You know, actually, on
like,
camera, we've got several scenes. You know, we did several of those scenes where y'all are face to face in that camper, and yeah, you can tell he's much bigger than you.
it was just like, man, I feel like I'm such a nice guy, and I'm like, William is such a nice guy. Like it wouldn't hurt a fly, and I'm like I'm just like I don't want to do anything wrong here.
But Jameson, go ahead and tell him the truth. You were worried because he's old.
I'm worried about that too.
No.
I just
No,
didn't
no.
want.
Oh, who you calling old, man?
Well, that's a cool, memorable
Yeah.
moment. Hey, Burl, do you have a cool, memorable moment you want to share that you and James did?
Tell us.
I mean, I don't know. I had such a limited role, but when we're out in the woods and we were, well, I don't want to give anything away, but I had fun when we were backing up and retreating.
Yeah. Yes.
We're trying to see. I played wide receiver, defensive back in college and whatnot. We're trying to see who had the best ability to backtrack. Yeah, that was fun.
Back.
That is cool. That is cool.
Sam had to run. He's got a battle on TikTok to do. He had just messaged me, so
Oh, sure.
that's why he just to let y'all know.
No, yeah, that's fine.
But anything you want to ask Sam, I can probably answer.
Oh, there you go.
I'm sure he's got a lot of great stories, man. Getting a success like that, in such a short amount of time, very impressive.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very impressive. So you want to talk about maybe some obstacles you guys had to overcome? Seems like you did a good job sweet talking your way into some spots, but what didn't go so well, Bill?
The timing.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Well, what do you mean exactly?
More of the timing of the weather and where we
Oh,
just
okay.
things came up. So that's why it took so long to shoot. But it was mainly just because there's too much vegetation in the swamp.
We had Jameson. The first thing we shot was Jameson and Burl, and that was in February. And then William was down for a week from New York City. So we scheduled. Jameson took that week off, and we got all of those things together because basically the Hermit is in half the film, and the hunting guide is in the other half of the film.
Mm.
So we got everything shot with the Hermit and Jameson.
Mm.
Then we started shooting Sam's. Well, Jameson works full time, so I didn't want to take another week vacation with Jameson, and I wasn't even sure if I could get Sam for all those. So we started shooting on Wednesdays and Sundays, which was when Jameson was off. But in doing so, we go from a winter look in the swamp to bright, lush green vegetation.
Mm.
And so we just had to call it. We had, let's finish it in the fall. I did bring Jameson back. There was like an escape thing that we have, and we shot that one afternoon. I think was it May or June, Jameson?
Yeah, maybe,
It was hot as hell.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he had to dress up like he was in the winter as well. So it's
I've done that. Yeah.
it was a little tough. We also, I don't think Jameson nor Sam had the problem, but I got bit by ticks just about every time I filmed. I had ticks all over me.
Wow.
No, but I never got
But
bit.
y'all ended up staying clear, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, because you wore shorts.
Ah.
I wore shorts. They were in the winter clothes. Yep.
And plus it was cold, man. It was cold.
And another when we shot a few weeks ago to the last day, there's an aerial scene I'm doing, and so I take the drone up, and as I'm bringing the drone back, we had a bald eagle come a little too close, so I had to take that drone, and I just shot it as fast as I could away from him, and brought it down, a quarter mile away until the bald eagle left and brought it in. But I think Jameson, you did see the bald eagle. There was a couple that didn't. I don't think
Yes, I
Sam saw it, but
Did it go after the drone?
it didn't go after it, but it was I think it was thinking about going after it. That's when I got it out of Dodge.
It didn't
that's-
like it in its territory.
It came up with a bald eagle.
That is
Um,
amazing.
And then I don't know, did you have what kind of issues did we have with you, William? Everything went kind of smooth for what we needed, I believe.
Yeah, everything was good usually.
Yeah, I think everything was pretty smooth. I mean, we discussed a couple of ideas that we
That we
weren't
didn't get
able
to
to
do, yeah.
but
I
the
know what
ones
it
that
is, though.
we did were fun. Like I said, I love the live stuff. I loved working with Jameson, and the scene that Burl set up for us was great. And then when we were together down in Nag's Head, the beach scenes, the sound scenes, they're just beautiful scenes. And I agree with Jameson. I can't pick a favorite thing. I just love this character, and I so appreciate Bill, collaborating and understanding. It's like when I'm asking these questions that this is what drives a character, and he was just so helpful in giving me something to work with. And yeah, it's just, I hope we all work together again. I
Yeah,
agree with Earl.
I
You
do.
meet people when you want to
But
work with.
Working with William it really helped me because first movie I was really nervous, and these scenes that were coming up, man, they were intense.
Mm.
And Will really helped bring out the character and bring out the emotion. And I really thank William, and he's so patient, he's so nice at helping me get to where it needed to be for those scenes.
It's easy to play off somebody when they're throwing that emotion at you because it feels more real life.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing. But we did have we had the camper inside the storage unit filming there. It was a long day. We were there 7 or 8 o'clock that morning
Oh man.
till like 11 that night. And I had I've got this lady Amber that was acting as an assistant or associate producer with me. And and she didn't understand quite how to get into the storage units at night when the gates were locked. And
Yeah.
she kind of got her car stuck between storage units.
Oh.
In the
No.
mud.
So we had to we basically
Yeah,
had to
but they-
pick her car up and move it out.
They had just laid the sod.
Thank God it was a small Honda.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
I-
And that was after a really long day.
Yeah.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
Bill, I'm
Long day.
glad I'm glad you were willing to change the wording of some things. Bill, I love Bill to death, but he's not black. He didn't understand the communication between an older.
Classic.
I'm-
Wow.
Hey, sit down. Called him down. No, man. What you doing, young blood? You lost your mind? Yeah.
If y'all look at the hat that Burl's got on,
Yeah.
Barma USA, I wear those type of hats a lot and have.
Oh, I've seen you wear them, yeah, in your videos.
I've probably worn them 15 years, 20 years. And I contacted him because I wanted Sam to have, I didn't want him to have a cowboy hat. I didn't want him to have just a ball cap. So I contacted Barma USA and these hats are like $75, $100 a piece. But they sent enough so I could do for the cast and crew. And what happens in our mid-credit scene, Jameson and Burl dress up exactly how Sam looked in the movie. So that's the hat you see on Burl's head there. I
Ah.
laugh at the hat, but it's like one of my favorite little pieces of the film.
I need my shirt back. I need my shirt back. Keep
But,
telling it.
we
What was the most challenging part of this for you?
for me or Burl.
For Burl.
It really wasn't because I'm a full-time actor.
You
So
can tell, yeah.
yeah, if we had to work 2 or 3 weeks continuous, I would. And I worked part-time at a national rental car company, but they all knew that I didn't need the job. So when an acting job came up, so it really wasn't. It'd been nice if we could complete everything in its defined period of time, but no,
Yeah.
because it's a learning experience for all of us. And if in fact we're going to make this a long-term team, then there's a lot of things we need to go through for the learning curve. Because one thing I learned through athletics and just 68 years of living, you don't really know who's who until you go through a lot of different things and different adversity. That's truly where the character comes out. So it's a necessary evil. And I know some people say that I'm cocky or whatever, but Deion Sanders said, "Don't let my confidence offend your insecurities."
Mm.
I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Trust me. Let me tell you reasons why this was done in an expeditious manner. Bill Howard's one talented mofo, man. I'm telling you, the guy can shoot, edit, direct. He's a nice guy. Whatever he needs to do to get someone to bring it out, he does. This is all as a result of Bill. Now, are we good actors? Yeah, we are. But I've been on sets, big movies and stuff like that. It's a long process. And Bill did all this when we were sleeping. I mean,
yeah.
He's a hardworking dude. That's why a guy like that, I told him, I'm like AIDS, man. I'm with you until you die. You can't get rid of it.
Wow. Yeah.
No, Bill's super talented. I wish he wouldn't be so damn humble. Make me look bad.
It's true, and that's what I remember.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Bill, when can we see this thing?
Good question. I am currently working on scene 20. Everything else in the film is done other than the coloring because I'm gonna recolor it. But I'm trying to get the cuts on scene 20 proper. Scene 20 is the scene, it's the key scene. This is why I couldn't do the film without getting this last day of shooting. Scene 20 is all about Jefferson Jenkins and who he is. And that's the scene that Jameson had to sell, and he did it. We did several cuts of it, and I'm very particular in having it look consistent. So I want the heads in the right position when I do my cut, for instance. That being said, I'll have this done. I mean, today's the 12th, this will air on the 14th. I mean, I'll probably have it done by the end of this coming weekend. And then I'll hit my coloring. I'll recheck all the audio. It should be ready. It'll go out to the people that have contributed to the film probably mid-January to late January. To the public, I'm not sure. It depends on how these talks go with these distributors.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Well, we've got
Thank
some
you
other
very much.
projects coming up.
Oh, do
Great.
tell.
We're looking forward. to it.
Just kind of give that out there. And then even this, I've got a found footage horror that I'm filming right now too, that
Nice.
we hit our funding goal on Indiegogo today. So
Congrats.
good timing too, but
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
we all plan on working together again.
Great.
How should we cap this off then, Bill?
Let's cap it off with this because y'all have heard me enough. How about a sentence or two from each of the three actors we got left on here?
There we go.
Their thoughts on the film.
Yeah.
Let's start with William English.
Just a huge opportunity to, it's, to me, this whole journey of acting has been just about magic happening. Yeah, I have met people and I've gotten roles that I just cherish and that are just so much fun to play. And this group is just, I can't wait to work with them again. I mean, meeting Bill, Burl helping me, Jameson, watching him grow, and Sam is just, he's just unique.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yes.
Jameson,
Uh,
what was your big takeaway from all this?
Man, I loved it. I loved the whole atmosphere. It really helped me build confidence. Cause honestly, before this role, like I had been in the agency I was been working with for a year, and I was just like, God, like maybe the acting thing, and this really helped me grow and build confidence and be able to prepare myself, because like preparing for bigger roles and preparing myself, just being behind the camera, like go from never being behind the camera to being the lead role in something. So you're in front of the camera almost the whole movie. So like it really helped me grow and become more comfortable behind the camera. You know what I mean?
You sound really appreciative and nice and sweet. Is he like this all the time, Bill?
He really is. And that was one thing that William Burl and I kept telling Jameson was, man, be yourself. You are Jefferson. Just be him.
yeah.
And you got it licked.
That's awesome. And bro, you already seem like the cool uncle that everybody wants.
Yeah.
The cool uncle that the one cool uncle everybody goes to who's gonna understand when no one else will.
One of my acting coaches, he says, Pearl, you're always the same. I says, hey, nobody can be me other than me. But
There you go.
my whole thing, I said years ago, I could have joined the union maybe 6-7 years ago. And I said a few years back, I was no longer chasing Hollywood. Hollywood's going to have to chase me. And so through this whole process, and I won't get too heavy on you, even though I'm in the Bible Belt. I think it's God's will, because
Sure.
with this group and meeting Bill, I think I can really do now what I really want to do in the business. Because ideally, it'd be great to create a partnership with Bill to do some of the things that I want to get done. Because there's so many stories that need to be told. And just to see the looks on people's faces when you hit something that's a universal theme and applies to them, it's just an amazing experience. Help someone today, make someone smile.
Well said.
Yeah.
If we can end it on just one thing, Jameson, William, you both know Burl's favorite line, right? Ah, shut the Thank you, Jameson.